Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our frequent and asked questions about real estate and mortgage. My name is Arlindo Machado. I'm a real estate broker and also real estate instructor, and I've been in business for more than 15 years. And let's see if we can answer your questions today and hope you enjoy the show. Thank you. I'm going to welcome our friend Yuri, who is in the mortgage business.
Good
Hello,
afternoon,
Yuri.
good afternoon, friends.
Good afternoon. How are you?
And talk about real
Good to
estate.
have you with us.
Happy. So let's talk about real estate, and then I have first question that I would want you to start. That is something that everybody when they come across um, thinking about purchasing real estate, first thing that people think like, who's going to help me with that? So how do they select? What are the most critical factors that people should pay attention when selecting real estate agent, or when they want to sell the property? What would they? Is it different criteria that they have to choose real estate agent, or it's the same? So what is the most important?
All right, Yuri, that's an excellent question. We do need to have some special skills, and also some of them are critical. Like it's a must. Of course, in this type of questions, it's will be different opinion from different people. So, in my opinion, the critical skills that we should have. Number one will be attention to details. Why do I say attention to details? Because a real estate transaction, it's very important. It has so many details that we can easily miss if we don't have attention to details. Number one, it's documentation. You know that you have to have some type of documentation that needs to be delivered to the buyer or to the seller. And that documentation needs to be accurate in terms of information. We also need to have to pay attention on time. Like I say in contract, time is of the essence. And one also very important is when we talk about fixture. I'll give an example because this is a problem that happens very frequently at closing. An agent is taking a listing from a seller. So he was hired to sell the property. And he did not pay attention to the details that they have a chandelier on the dining room. So we make no agreement to what's going to happen on the chandelier, because the chandelier, because of the method of annexation, becomes a fixture. And fixture means it's part of the property, cannot be removed by itself. But also, everything in real estate is negotiable. If the seller says at the beginning of the negotiation, I'm going to take the chandelier, then the buyer knows that the seller will take the chandelier, and they sign in the agreement, sign in the contract, then we have no issues at closing. But if this communication doesn't happen, then the buyer will look into the chandelier and say, wow, that's a beautiful chandelier. It's going to look great on top of my dining room set. And as the day they're walking through that we're closing the deal, the buyer comes into the house, the chandelier is not there. Now we have an issue. It needs to be addressed in court if the seller decides not to take it back. So that's why I say that attention in details is one very good, very important skills that we need to have. Second one is negotiation, of course, because negotiation, it's vital to get the best price either to the seller or to the buyer, which is, very important skills. And also communication. You need to be able to communicate with buyers, sellers, title company, inspection, mortgage, loan originator. There's a bunch of different people involved in one real estate transaction that we need to be able to communicate with them professionally and get things done correctly so we don't have any issues at closing.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree with this. It's probably the same in the finance in the financial part of it, where attention to detail is super critical. And again, being a broker, it's also always negotiation. It doesn't matter what you broker in, if it's real estate or if it's a mortgage or if it's some commodities or whatever it is. The broker is always in the middle, so negotiation is the key. Absolutely.
Of course. Yes, and we don't want to have any issues at close, especially. It should be the happy day to everybody: buyer, seller, brokers, everyone. Now, Yuri,
Yes.
I've been in contact with a bunch of different buyers, as you know, and I do have, 60, around 60 agents in my company. And I collected some important information that the buyers has related to mortgage, to finance. And
Mhm.
this is one of them. You are the head of your company. And then what would you say would be the average loan processing time? And is there any way that a buyer could help to make it short?
Absolutely, great question. With the time, it's I know we live in a fast-paced environment where everybody wants things to happen fast and efficient, most efficient. So yes, we do have. Significant improvements over the years, over the course of years with the processing, where there is no paper involved, everything is being signed electronically. But still, loan, like process of the loan takes time because it's underwriting. So meaning that everything has to be checked by the bank. They have to make sure they are doing everything correctly. So that does take time. Also, there is a compliance involved in the loan, meaning that government sets up the certain terms that it cannot be faster, or there are some waiting or cooling off periods that have to be observed. So when we're talking about uh, loan process, typically it's between 21 and 30 days. But then again, there are different loan programs that can take longer because it's like there are two types of underwriting, let's say manual underwriting and automated underwriting. Automated underwriting typically goes faster. That's when we're talking about 21 to 30 days. When we're talking about manual underwriting, meaning that conditions of the loan being established by the underwriter manually, like from the head, from the mind, and then they have to go through each one of them. So that takes longer period of time, and it can take about 40 to 45 days in some cases, but it typically does not take any longer than that. These loans typically are called non-QM, non-qualified mortgages, and that are those that are not being bought by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So those typically underwriting is longer. Now, when it comes to how the client can prepare, basically talk to the financial professional before applying for a mortgage, before actually going into real estate transactions. So there are no surprises, and they know what documentation is going. They will have to present, and then obviously when they ask for documents, the faster they present, the faster the loan goes. Now I'm taking too long to. I can talk about this for long time, but then I have another question for you that that interests me actually, and um, clients also, and that is related to selling of the properties. I mean, it's I understand how to put the bottom price. You just go to Zillow and then you look what is priced. But then not always people want to have the lowest price. So how do you evaluate the property when you put it on the market? What is the best way, best practices to do that?
All right, Yuri, great question. Look, this is a very special part of any transaction is to help the seller to come up to a listing price. And if you work with the buyer, to help the buyer to make an educated offer, not just throw an offer, with any number. No, do an educated offer. So when we work to prepare an evaluation of a property, it's called the CMA, Compatible Market Analysis. And we try to take all the houses or apartments, any property that was sold 2, 3 months within the last 2, 3 months or 6 months. And then we take in consideration those property that was sold. In a special market like we live in today, which is the seller's market, we can't go far too much because prices are going up so fast. So another thing that we need to take in consideration is the difference between the properties. And this is very important because sometimes you get a price of a property that was sold for $500,000, example, and you try to think that this property, because it's in the same neighborhood with the same number of bedrooms will worth the same, but there are differences. You know, some they being renovated, they have new appliances, and some other things that are related to the property that increase the value of every individual property. So that's why it's more like a work involvement than to just look into the comps online and find out which one will be a better comp and how I'm going to adjust the value for the subject property. So it's more like hands on. Go to the property, look into the property, see what this property has that the other one doesn't. So then you will be able to come up with the value that is closer to the market value. And that's how we do this. Okay?
It's similar to work of the appraisers, and I know that they do actually a lot of work. I mean, they are probably, you know, they work from morning till, I don't know, 10 in the evening, because they go for inspections and then they have to evaluate. So yeah, I
Yeah.
assume it's like something very similar to that when you have a listing for the property to actually evaluate it, because you
It
have
is a
to
fact.
everything.
Job of an appraiser, as they call it, it's an art.
Yeah.
It's an art and has to be charged based on difficulty and the time and efforts that they use it. Because it is a lot of work. They need to get the comps, they need to get the differences in prices. Some of them has two bedrooms and another one has three, so they need to make adjustments to make the comps look like the subject. But it's an amazing job.
Right.
All right, my friend. So I have my next question to you. Like I was telling you before, you know, people come to us with questions, and this is one very important subject, Yuri, because some people come to me and say, "Arlindo, what is a pre-approval letter? So, what is a pre-qualification letter?" We actually don't know. They actually don't know the difference. Which one has a more value in terms of uh, to be strong when you put an offer? Should I have a pre-approval letter? Should I have a pre-qualification letter? So I like to hear, and of course, the people that are listening to us right now, they want to know from your point of view, once you are in the industry, what is actually the difference between pre-approval letter and pre-qualification letter?
Okay, it's a great question, and there is, I mean, it's not a confusion, but yes, people do not know, and then when they ask for pre-approval, they want to actually know what it is and how strong it is, and what does that mean. So basically, pre-qualification for me would be if I am talking to the client, and the client gives me an idea about their income, credit, and how much they want to put as a down payment, and I'm telling them, yeah, you can do up to that amount of money. I pre-qualified that client, um, but I didn't check anything. So what it means is that it's only words, their words, and then my words, and then there is nothing, no paperwork involved, nothing like that. And it's not strong in a sense that they might underestimate their income or overestimate, or not be sure about their credit and what's on their liabilities, whatever. So it's basically only on words. When you're talking about pre-approval, that is a document that I can produce to a potential borrower, that they can submit with their offer to secure financing. This document means that I analyzed their credit, their income, and their assets. I looked at the statements physically. I looked at their pay stubs. I looked at their credit report, and based on all of that, I created pre-approval for the amount, meaning that when the client goes into underwriting, all these things will be checked, and then if everything is correct, then they're gonna get the mortgage, they're gonna get the loan. So pre-approval is much more serious, and it involves documentation and analysis of documentation. So that is the main difference. Both words are similar: pre-qualification, pre-approval, but pre-approval is much stronger, and it's a much more serious process, and it involves documentation. So and then I want to ask you, one question also that it's my personal basically. I know that you are real estate instructor, and then my question is, how does that interact with running the brokerage business?
Yuri, when we decided to become a broker and open up a company, we have a decision to make. Are we going to be a competing broker, or are we going to be a full-time broker? So I decided to be a full-time broker to assist my agents. So I support them with all the questions they have. So that's what I do all day long. My agents, they come to my office or they call me, whatever question they have. So the advantage of being an instructor is because I'm in contact with the law all the times and all the changes. And there are many things that we learn in the real estate school that we tend to forget because you learn it to pass the exam. And then after that, you don't remember those things anymore. And some people, they trash they throw away the books. But as I tell to my students and my agents, 90%, more than 90% of the book, we use it every day. We just forget it. So there are laws that we need to pay attention, like laws for advertising, so many different things. And that's what I bring it to my meetings. So every month when we have a meeting, we talk about the laws of advertising, the federal laws related to real estate, the state laws related to real estate, FRAC laws, and then all of those things help my agents to do the right thing, help the best way to the clients, either seller or buyer, and that's what I see from it. It's an advantage to all my agents, to the company as well.
That is excellent because you stay on top of the compliance. That actually got me thinking about,
That's true.
because you always you get the first-hand information, and so that you teach, and then nothing can slip by you, and then that is actually great.
Good.
Great.
Good.
What you're doing.
Really?
I need to look into teaching mortgages at some
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
right.
Yuri, with this spirit, I like to end our session here, and I like to thank you very much for your presence, and I like to thank you to answer all those questions. It was a great time. I hope you guys have enjoyed this time with us. If you have any question, please don't be afraid to ask it. We're here to help you guys to achieve too. Thank you, man.
Thank you very much.